Hello from the Hashknife. Today is going to be a unique look into stats for calving season. So usually we don't share numbers. We typically try to show what we do on a daily basis. That's been kind of our newest mantra. Instead of focusing on discussions, we want to show you what we do. But today is a unique look into what we have to look at every single year when it comes to breeding cows and creating calves to get the calf crop. Sometimes the ratio that people will tell you about their calf crop that they get each year is not entirely true and accurate to what they're actually producing. So I listed out some stats that we had this whole year. We typically keep stats all year long based off the production of the cows and to make sure that we can maintain a good tracking system as to how cows produce and how they don't. So what I do want to cover is what we did, what happened throughout the year, and then some of the results and potentially a what if scenario or a few. So this year, actually last year, if you look, summer and fall of 2023, we had 71 cows that were ready to be bred. They were exposed to bulls in a natural way, which was not AI or anything like that. They were simply put out to pasture with bulls, and their natural heat cycle allowed them to determine when they would breed. Out of the 71 cows that were exposed to the bulls, one cow came up dry. That was number 94. So we came out of the summer with 70 bred cows. That created a conception rate of 98.6% in our herd. The target rate is 96, and that is according to 90 days of natural breeding, like I said, versus artificial insemination. That's a different situation. Now, over the course of the winter and spring, which was the January to early March, we experienced one death, which there was a video about that. I'll put a card up above. And we never determined what occurred with 134. But because of her death, that was also a calf loss as well, because she was pregnant. Then we had our second death. That was the other video up above. Number 147 spontaneously aborted, and it resulted in us trying to figure out what was going on with her hay. And we had to actually look at our hay, have it tested, and figure out what was going on. We determined everything was good, so we continued to feed the hay. But that was a serious concern in February. That was again during this time. So between the dry cow, the death, and the abortion, the spontaneous abortion, we had 3 losses prior to calving season. So of the 70, of the 71 cows that should produce, we only had 68 cows that were supposed to calve. This is a common base that most people and most ranchers will use as part of their calf crop when it comes to determining how well they succeeded or did not succeed throughout the spring season. We had one dead calf that we found that several days later. We'd indicated that there was a cow that had a calf. We just could not locate the calf. I found it about a week later, and it was in remnants, so it was either stillborn, couldn't breathe, couldn't get its face out of the sack. Some sort of thing occurred. The coyotes got a hold of it once it was dead, and they consumed the rest of it. The only thing that was left was a couple of limbs. Then we had a dry heifer. She was told to be bred. When our vet checked, either something was misread or she reabsorbed the fetus or something to that nature it resulted in her being a dry heifer. So we went from 68 cows that were expected to calve to 66 is our total. Now, of those 66, 3 of them were twins. 131, 139, and 149 all had an extra calf that we were not expecting. So that brought us to 69. Keep in mind, another video up above, we did try to save another twin, the 4th set of twins. That one was tragically lost after we tried for quite some time to save it, but it couldn't be counted towards the 66, and it can't be counted towards the 3 twins. So in a weird way, it's a negated loss. Moving on, we have 69 calves. At the end of the season, literally a couple days before the last calf was born, we had a cow. We found her deceased in the pasture. She was the mother cow to the twins 139. So this was a concern at one point to determine whether or not those twins would make it. Thankfully they have. We've been monitoring. Everything's good there, but that could also knock you back numbers, looking at kind of a what if scenario going forward. So that's kind of our rundown of calving season 2024. Now we're going to head over to the target rates real quick. Again, your calf survival rate is expected to be around 96%. You can do 95% for a nice even statistical number by fives, but 96% with the inversion of that being a 4% calf loss crop rate. So out of that, we were good with that because in a weird way, we came out above, which I'll show down here. But then your twin likelihood is actually 1% in your population of your herd expected. Dairy cows, I believe, are supposed to be a little higher than that based off their genetics as Holsteins. But we came out at 5.7% going off of our 70 bred cow ratio. That doesn't include the 66 or 68. So that would be a much higher number if we looked into that. Now, of the cows calved, of the total 71 that were supposed to produce, they were all exposed to the bull. 64 actually produced a calf. Of the 70 that were considered bred in the fall, 64 were the ones, or 64 of 70 were born. So you had 91.4% of exposed cows produced, 90.1% of confirmed bred cows produced. Now moving to the calves born, your total is 69 calves across the board were born, because we're bringing it from over here. Of the calves born, we get 69, 69, 69 of our various totals. We have 71 exposed to the bulls, 71 that were bred, and then 68 that were expected to calve at the beginning of the calving season. So with that, 69 of 71, we had a 97.2% calving ratio or calving percentage. This is our reality if we go off of who was exposed to the bulls. Moving forward to who was bred in the fall time, 69 of 70, we get 98.6% of our calf crop, which is what we were coming to this discussion with about for the statistical analysis of a herd. And then what most people will often base it off of before they even start the season of who is about to actually calve, we get 69 of 68. So we had over 100% calf crop for 2024 if we look at these stats based off of that. Stats can be very helpful. They can be very useful. But when you look at them based off of various scenarios like we have here, all are related to our situation, our operations here at the Hashknife Ranch. But you're also looking at them from different perspectives. In reality, all the exposed cows, we're looking at 97.2%, which 96% conception, we're above that. Calf survival, 96%, we're above that. So we're looking good on both ends. But at the same time, if you went off of who was bred, we still came up a little bit higher, 98.6%. And then, of course, off of who was actually going to calve and produce a calf at the end of all of the winter and into the spring, we get 101.5%, which is fantastic. Now, something that's kind of fun, I put in a dotted line here. What if scenarios? Everybody asks, what if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? There's no way we could have done anything with Yellow 10's calf. This calf death, there was absolutely no way we could have addressed it. We looked, we were watching. That is unfortunately, it's simply a loss. Let's go with the assumption that we were able to save that fourth twin. It was an unexpected gain. So therefore, it brings us from 69 to 70. And if we go 70 across the board of, again, cows exposed, cows bred, and then cows expected to calf, we come up with 98.6%, 100%, obviously, that makes sense. And then 70 out of 68, which is 102.9%. So those are all still looking pretty good statistically. Now, another what if is, what if we only had all 66 cows that calved, they only had one calf, and they were expected to come out of our highest expectation, which was 71 cows exposed to the bulls. We come up with 93%. So then we shoot under both of these numbers up here with the conception rate and survival rate. And really this relates more to the survival rate of the calves more than anything. But those are some interesting statistics to look at. It's helpful to kind of get that understanding, that breadth of information as to who is talking about what when they talk about their calf crop. So again, you could base your calf crop off of exposed to bulls, those actually bred, or the common way that people do it is who's expected to calve at the beginning of the season, 68 cows. So if we're going with that, we had an over 100% calf crop for 2024, which is fantastic. So I hope that gave you a little bit of insight, a little more nuanced and more detail-oriented exposure to how we run our operations and we analyze our herd. But I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that conversation. So thanks until you're better paid.